Good evening and welcome to the Town of Hollis Planning Board meeting of Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. I see we have all of our members tonight, so we definitely have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. I will now call the meeting to order, starting with roll call from my right.
Greg McPherson. Tom Witkowski.
Heather Sullivan.
Brett Markey.
Danielle Bradbury.
Butch Gannett.
Awesome, thank you. And let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's just jump right on in. We have correspondence. We have correspondence, our usual suspect from the Saco River Corridor Commission. They've been busy seeking some after-the-fact permits, but one of these is a before-the-fact permit. So we got to give these guys a little bit of a kudos because we don't often see before-the-fact permits. You have the opportunity to read through their meeting agenda from their last meeting. We're looking at some installation of fixtures, I guess you would say, on one property, garage construction, fencing, and some sheds, some buildings, and well, that looks like the same. Oh, and a pergola. Ooh, and a skateboard man. Wow, very exciting. These are all on private homes. They look like at least private homes that are in the Saco River corridor, so on the Saco River.
And not all in Hollis.
Not all in Hollis.
They're very, very much spread out. We have some in Leamington, Newfield, Limerick, Dayton. I believe that was Saco in this agenda meeting.
Right,
So-
from the agenda, yes,
Right,
but the
right.
ones that she sent us a letter on are all in Hollis.
Right,
So the
right,
4
correct.
applications.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I don't know what the difference is between an application and a permit. Maybe it's maybe they're changing the permit, so the third one down says permit instead of application. Can only assume that means they're.
They have a separate, oh no, I was going to say they're intermingled in half of it. So.
If they got a permit in the
Yep.
beginning and then they're making changes, then that might be the difference. Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss with respect to this letter from Saco River Corridor? They've tabled one of the issues. Tabled 2 of them. They tabled 2 of the issues. And then I would assume that 2 went through. I guess we don't really know. With nothing, nobody speaking up, we can put that aside. If those applications end up having to come in front of us, we will have the expertise of the Saco River Corridor Commission's review to rely on as well. Moving on, we'd like to review the minutes from our meeting on April 8th. So if you guys could take a second, I will take a motion to make any changes or to approve when you guys are ready.
I'm good with it. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written for April 8th, 2026. Second.
Any discussion? All right, Greg, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved. We have the opportunity for formal groups and boards in Hollis to come and give us any report that they would like. Do we have anyone that would like to come and give us a report? Anyone online or in the room. Not seeing any hands raised. I can give I guess it's not a report, but the grant that we were awarded, there was, the state changed the contract that we entered into with them for the grant funding. So, Mary, I think you signed that, didn't you? So they sent us a new contract. It was signed. I haven't heard anything else from it. And Select Board member is with us, Mary Hoffman. Mary, should I be reaching out to SMPDC at this point? Oh, perfect. We'll do it right now, Mary. I think you've put in a long enough day already.
So we got the grant. And that just is so you guys can start keeping records because the grant started in April. And so that's just sort of the target areas we picked. And like, if you were gonna review anything, you could count the hours and get $30 for an hour if you're doing a review at home. And so you just need to sort of keep track of it, and then Ashley will be setting up some sort of Excel webpage to keep track of the money and sort of know where we are. But we do need to have either Heather or someone come and meet with the town manager and SMPDC to decide how we're gonna utilize them. Are you guys gonna make your suggestions and then send them to them, or vice versa, or how are you gonna do it, and how are we gonna get charged? How are we gonna charge them? Are we gonna charge them hourly? Or are we gonna have a set number, a set figure to have them work with us on the updates? And those are on the first 2 pages, is sort of what we put for budget items. We don't have to hold to those. They were just estimates or just suggestions, so we can use the $15,000 any way we want, so it doesn't have to be in those set numbers. And then the last 2 pages are what they sent us that they're gonna be doing the review on when they get the draft, and then when they get the final product. So they'll be reviewing specifically for those things. So I thought that was a good list just to have, like, as a reminder, because it sort of lists almost everything in the changes itself. So Heather or Brett or whoever has time might want to contact the town manager and see if you can set up either a Zoom meeting or have them come up and review with you how you want to set up with Southern Maine Planning, to do the updates. The nice thing is I thought maybe before you do that, you might want to reach out to some of the towns that have, not a select board, have a town council, because my understanding is that they have to have it done this June. So they might be a good resource for sort of where they put the stuff and how they worded it. So, but anyway, just so you know, you have sort of a go-by, and if you start reviewing anything now or reaching out to other towns, please just keep track. Don't keep 5 minutes. If you spend some time on the phone, count it as 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. Don't nickel dime poor Ashley with 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, and
We're going to do it attorney style, in that if we spend 2 minutes on something, we're going to bill
Oh, yeah.
for 15
But you know what I
increment,
mean.
right?
I don't want you to do 5-minute increments. If you spend some time on the phone with somebody and it's only 18 minutes, take a half an hour, or however you want to do that. Because last time when we did it, I just put dates down and put numbers down. I mean, we could separate it into each different category, but it was just easier just to do date, time, sort of what it was, and a charge, and then subtract it so I knew when we were done with it. So that's just for your information. It was we sort of didn't make up categories, but sort of said these are the categories we might use. So we might not send out mailers. We might not do every single category. But just so we had, we came up with the $15,000. And I don't think we'll have a hard time spending it. That's only my opinion. Any questions?
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
And then, if you just sort of let Ashley know, she can keep it up to date, so it's not like, I think
Not
when I did it,
scrambling at the last minute.
I think when I did it, it was the last minute. Not on my highly recommended list.
Okay, so I think that, the first question for us as a group is, do we have a preference? Do we want SMPDC? So I don't think, Brett, you haven't worked on a project that SMPDC has been involved with, right?
Correct.
Have you?
I think my first meeting, they were at the other, we were over there and they
Yep,
were
yep,
here, but that
okay.
was the only time I've worked with
Yeah,
them.
and I know, Butch, you probably have the most recent things. So, I think the options of, do we want to try to write it to meet the new laws? Or do we want them to take our ordinances and propose language that meets the new laws? And then we take it and discuss it, and 9 times out of 10, make a couple edits to it to fit what we think is right for Hollis. Do you guys have an opinion on which way we would want to go? I'll give my opinion. I say we let them write it, and then we take what they write and make sure that it fits and that there isn't anything that was left out or missing. There's gonna be some things that are gonna be pretty drastic changes to how we function here in Hollis. I think in particular, the 4-unit, planning board will no longer be seeing anything below 4 units. I think that's a big one. And I think one big question, and Butch, you might want to bring this back to the comprehensive plan group. There's a lot of discussion here about growth areas. And if we are going to see a change to our growth areas in the future, we want to kind of just make sure that we're keeping that in the back of our mind. If something is going to change, because we currently have growth areas identified. I think it's Hollis Center Village and West Buxton Village. Am I correct on that, Butch?
North Hollis.
North
Hollis and Hollis Center.
North Hollis and Hollis Center. Those are the proposed growth areas. Those areas, part of me wonders what exactly is meant by growth. Are we talking about residential? Are we talking about business? Are we talking about, because I think there's different answers to both when you think of them from that perspective. But if you have a growth area, then there's certain expectations of the state, from the state laws, that we need to incorporate into our ordinances. Some of it's going to be really simple. The parking requirement is going to change the number of parking spots that we need to have, that we can require for residential. That doesn't feel like it's a heavy lift. It's a small change, but something like changes to the number of units that we see in front of us versus what Dwayne sees. And then these things around the growth areas, I think, are going to be a little more complicated. What do you guys think?
I like the idea of having them.
Me too, yeah.
Because they've worked through a lot of the issues, so.
And we've worked with them for quite some time, so they
If
do
we have
know
enough
our
money
ordinances. We have
yeah.
plenty in
Yeah.
this.
And so the only thing I would recommend is that we meet with them.
Yeah.
And figure
Oh,
out.
Certainly.
yes. I'll do
And
that.
then the other thing is there's some things that are really simple, like accessory dwelling units, saying that you don't have to have somebody live there. There might be something which you could change and you could just take off their list. There would
I
be a
think there are a
simple
couple of
change.
things,
There's
yeah.
just a couple. There's not a whole bunch.
Yep.
But there's a couple where it's just a simple change in whatever section that is,
I think that's a great idea, Mary. And when we are at a point where we don't have live applications in front of us, I think we can probably pick off
Right.
that
Yeah.
low-hanging fruit
Yeah.
very easily.
Yeah, and then just sort of give them a list where you need help, because like with, what was it that we had the lawyer write the whole thing for us?
Zoning ordinance, no, planning board ordinance.
But the one about, it was like, an addition to the rural, we have rural development, like 2 acres.
Yes.
The affordable housing piece.
Yep,
We
yep.
just had him write the whole thing.
Yep.
Which was smart.
And I think we do also have access, of course, to the town attorney who will review anything. But I would say that SMPDC, works with a lot of municipalities around here. So they're going to have a really good feel for what other municipalities are doing as well. I'm sure that our attorney would too. But it's always good to get feedback from different areas. I like it feels like SMPDC is more of a group effort on their end. And then our town attorney is kind of like, we've got one person that we go to. And you know me, I always like to hear from the group.
And then the other thing is I did reach out to MMA to make sure to see if there were any changes to that, the law that was passed last year. Because there was a lot of talk about changes, but I don't know if anything specifically got passed. So I reached out to him and said, what got passed? Because it's very hard to find right now because they're still sort of in limbo getting things finalized, so.
Was that recently? So we can.
Yeah.
So, and MMA is usually really good.
That's
I would have thought.
1829, right?
1829, 997, I think, 1829, 997. I don't know if anything new was passed.
Well, they were talking about it the whole session, and so, it sort of gets lost in limbo sometimes on how far it gets and if they had a majority or a minority and if the
We will
governor
wait for the
signed it or
experts
she
to
didn't.
tell us.
Yeah, so MMA is really good about that. So they'll
Yes.
probably get back to me in a couple days.
I think generally they even put out like a bulletin almost
Right.
that says, here are the things that may
May-
impact
yeah,
municipalities. So we've got 1829, 997, and 427.
They kind of did the same thing with, was it 2003?
Mm-hmm.
When, I remember when Lee J came and saying, hey, look, this is a working thing. Once we know, you'll know.
Yep.
So it kind of, and it worked out well where they came first and SMPDC said, hey, this is what you have to include, this is what you don't have to include, this is what you have a choice to include.
Mm-hmm.
And then MMA obviously came after that and just kind of cleaned up anything that we missed. And then I think we were in pretty good shape. So I think taking that same approach is it's a tried and true method, and they know what they're doing. They do it literally day in and day out, and we just look over it and go, that fits Hollis or that doesn't fit Hollis, but most of this seems like it's coming from the state and less ordinance stuff. So
There may be some things,
like little stuff, right?
yeah, things that we can, well, not much that we can avoid, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
no,
And then I
that's-
think a big part of what our responsibility is here is to make sure that our residents know what's going on and these changes and the impact of these changes. And Mary did put into the budget some communication funds, so we could do letters, we could send letters to residents, obviously posting proposed, as we go through the process, it will look no different than our standard practice of inviting the public in for a public hearing and discussing proposed changes before we vote on it. I think important for us to remember is that we would like to have rough draft in the end of January. So we've got other things that we're going to be working on between now and then. So it just kind of will fit in nicely, I think, with some of the other things we are doing. Anything else?
To go back and talk about growth area,
Sure.
in the last iteration of the comprehensive plan, the Hollis Center growth area appears to have been expanded. I don't have it with me, but I had a map that shows it going almost up to Burnham Lane from the Hollis Center Village. Expanded quite a bit.
And that's in the version that is currently active, or this is the one we're going to vote on?
One currently active.
Okay. How
But
does,
it doesn't seem to have been applied to the town zoning map. So I'm working with Dwayne on that, and I'll have more information about that as we go along. We may not have to enlarge that area. We may just have to adopt the zoning map that was approved by the town. So, but I'll get more on that later.
in the event that there was a warrant article in November, we don't know that that's going to be the case, but in the event there was, you think that's something we could get an answer on? And then I wouldn't suggest that we maybe don't change anything. So let's just say that it was proposed and never got put on the warrant for some reason. let's also assume that we, this board, the way we're made up, are comfortable with the expansion as written, and that we would just want to put it in front of the voters.
Right, I would think all we would need to do is to write up a description of how that has been expanded. Vote that we wanted to approve it, and I think it could go forward. I mean, there's been public hearings on it and so forth during the development of the comprehensive plan, and it was approved by the townspeople. So I wouldn't think it would be hard to get that ready for November.
And is that the economic overlay zone, or is that the Hollis Center Village zone?
It would be the Hollis Center Village zone.
So that's, the comprehensive plan committee is expanding the growth zone in the Hollis Center Village.
No, they want, the recommendation, I think, years ago was expand the Hollis Center Village zone.
Okay, I had it
To
backwards.
make the
I
zone itself
apologize.
bigger?
Well, the Hollis Center Village zone has been identified as the growth area,
Right.
Yep.
okay? And it looks as if it was enlarged during the
zone
last
itself was
comprehensive
enlarged.
plan and not, I don't know if it wasn't adopted or just didn't get into the zoning map.
I understand. Okay. So it's
You
not,
too.
it wasn't the comprehensive plan committee enlarging the growth zone. It was,
They were recommending,
yeah, I understand now. Okay.
Right.
So the Hollis Center Village.
all they do
zone
is recommend.
Yeah, right, of course. And then every other board and committee has to follow that because that's our comprehensive plan. Okay, I understand. I misinterpreted. I apologize. I thought it was the comprehensive plan committee expanding the growth zone, but it's not. It's just Hollis Center Village is a bigger zone than is shown on the map. Is that correct?
It appears that so, yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, I got you.
And you and Dwayne are looking to figure out if anyone ever voted on it.
Right, right. This simply going back and searching through town records or meeting minutes.
Well, I would think that if it's not on a warrant, then you have to really look at the meeting minutes. But if it's on a warrant, then I think we have an answer.
Well, if the,
Mary has something
let's
to
say
say.
if the town
Well, no,
accepted,
the problem is that when we voted on the new map, whatever year we voted recently, it wasn't included. So the past
Oh.
doesn't matter.
Oh,
We voted on that new map.
the residents are saved.
So we have to, in order to expand it, we would have to put it to a vote with the residents,
Yeah. So
With
the
the
residents,
new map.
with the new map,
Yeah.
because that new map was approved
Yeah, last year.
as the only map we've ever had, according to Paul. So that's the problem with it, is that obviously they didn't look at the 2005?
I don't know if it's the 5 or the 15.
Yeah, but they didn't look at that when they were doing that map. He claimed there were no maps around.
Well, if it was, to my way of thinking, if it was passed before and just wasn't done, then it just needs to be corrected.
The
You know?
map itself, the map that we
Right.
just approved, yep, yep.
So, I mean, that's what we need to research and find out.
Right, yeah, yeah. But where he updated the map and didn't include it, we'd have
Well,
to,
and again, if the comprehensive plan was approved to enlarge that growth area, then it's incumbent upon the planning board then to identify
Adapt it,
those
yeah.
boundaries and get the map corrected, and it,
Yeah.
that probably wasn't done, I don't know.
right, yeah, yeah.
Interesting. All right. So, Paul Mator might be a good person to ask if he recalls what happened with that proposed expansion, because I know he was the one that brought things in the last comprehensive plan. He was the one that brought the items to planning board that needed to be, he was planning board chair at the time, I think.
I'll touch base with him.
Yeah, he might just be able to answer the question very simply, and it will be oh no, we forgot to we forgot to finish that, or it never made it onto the ballot, or it's oh yeah, we voted on that in June of 2018. Either one could be true. So thank you, Butch. But I think that will, so the reason why this kind of comes up in discussion is because some of the state-required changes apply if we have identified growth areas. They apply to the growth area.
And they quadruple the amount of houses that can be allowed on a lot.
Yes.
So that's expanding the growth area. This entire conversation revolves around allowing affordable housing at 4 times the normal rate in those growth areas, so.
Well, I don't think you need to get
Affordable
that
housing
wrapped up in it.
developments,
Right.
Not just affordable housing. It has to be an actual development,
Right, no, of course.
which we've zoned into those 2 zones.
Yes, and there's not much space left in those zones. I think that was the whole conversation, right? There was no buildable space.
I don't think you need to get wrapped up in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
If the Hollis Center Village Zone was identified as the growth area, then the Hollis Center Village Zone was enlarged. Obviously, that enlarges the growth area.
Yep.
right,
It's not one driving the other.
okay,
Yep.
understood.
Makes sense. Thank you, Butch. All right, moving on. Old business. We do not have any old business. So we will move, well, actually, this is technically, so this is old business because we have seen, I tell you it wasn't. Yeah, so it's not because we've already seen this application in front of us. We did a sketch plan review a few months ago. I don't even remember what month it was now. So it would be old business, and now we're moving into the preliminary application phase. Okay. Because it changed, because, oh, yes, because
It used to be more, and now it's not.
there used to be more land.
Right.
Used to be more land, yeah. All right, well, we have a representative of the project here. Why don't you come up and tell us all the things that we've forgotten about in the last few months?
Good evening, James Lowry with BH2M, and you guys are correct. Andy Morrow presented the sketch plan on this back, it was actually last summer.
Yeah.
So it's been a few months. I'll give you a quick update. We can talk through some different things if you guys have questions and, just move along. So the parcel itself is a 58-acre parcel owned by the Hertel Grandchildren Trust via Van Hertel Sr. And right off of Mansion Road, just up beyond where the pavement ends on Mansion Road. It is what we have proposed as a 14-lot, single-family home subdivision. The project itself, the property itself is in the rural residential 2-acre zoning district, requires 80,000 square feet per lot, 200 feet of road frontage. The site is currently wooded, undeveloped, with the exception of a driveway coming up into the McKay parcel here. And then it looks like from our plans, there may be a little encroachment of a gravel drive by the off the CMP corridor that goes along the southern extent of the property. So what we have, and this plan right here is the 14-lot plan in your packet. We do have 11 by 17 exhibit in the bound materials with the cover on it that does depict the conceptual overall 18-lot subdivision. So if you have any questions on that, we can talk through it. There are streams that navigate through the parcel. They're all tributary to Stony Brook. We've maintained a 75-foot setback off of those streams to the building envelopes. The streams and wetlands were delineated by a group, Fraggle Rock Environmental, out of New Hampshire back in 2024. That their report is within your materials. BH2M and our new wetland scientists, natural resources department has gone out and recently done a vernal pool assessment. There were several vernal pools identified around through the site, none of which met the DEP criteria to be a significant vernal pool. Again, I've got, get off topic too much, but we do have those identified on this existing condition plan. I can point them out to you, and if you've got specific questions. So that was just completed. A memo report with the data sheets will be, are going to be, they're prepared in a draft form. I'll be providing those to you all once they're ready to go and submitted into the DEP. So all the lots will be accessed by gravel roads, 2 roads in particular. We have, since our submission of the materials, we've worked with the applicant to come up with some road names. Eagle Drive will be the main road that comes in off of Mansion Road, and then the side road that cuts down off of that, this one right there, will be Hawk Lane, H-A-W-K. So the project itself, I think as you noted in the materials, is Talon Estates. So we'll be updating all of any subsequent revisions to the plans. Will have those names labeled and in the borders and titles and all. The lots will be served by overhead utilities, individual wells and septics, and there are about 3,800 square feet of wetland impacts proposed. They are predominantly associated with the stream crossings. We've got two new stream crossings, one right here and the other right there. And then there will be a modification to the existing culvert and crossing that comes up to the McKay driveway, or under the McKay driveway. That's an existing culvert. We'll be upgrading that to, take into account the new road width and things along those lines. In all that, the project will have approximately 2 acres of impervious area associated with the road. So that requires a stormwater permit through the DEP. And with that, we've got some soil filters and a couple of roadside buffers to meet our treatment requirements through the DEP. Part of that assessment too, in the stormwater report that was included in the materials, is that we're controlling peak rates of runoff in the 2, 10, and 25-year storms below pre-development levels. And PBR through the DEP for the stream crossings, and then a wetland alteration permit through the Corps of Engineers. The amount of wetland impacts stay below the DEP threshold for a NRPA Tier 1, and also below the Corps' threshold for any wetland compensation. So fairly minimal there. And then lastly, we did provide, I know there was some questions that came up at the sketch plan meeting about traffic, the intersection with Mansion and Deerwander. And we enlisted the support of Barton and Laguitas, their traffic consulting company out of the office in Scarborough is who helped us. And they assess site distance both on Mansion Road and where Mansion goes into Deerwander, with the exception of a few trees that will be removed when we clear for the road. That has the required site distance on Mansion, so it will be compliant once everything's there. They just can't get that definitive measurement right now because of some existing trees. And then Deerwander, or Mansion Road, as you come out to Deerwander, has sufficient site distance, 400 feet looking to the right and over 500 feet looking to the left on Deerwander. So With that, I will be quiet and let you guys ask any questions or talk amongst yourselves, whatever you like.
So before we get embedded in the application itself, I believe that we do need to find the application complete. We did not, this is the first review of the preliminary plan application. And finding the application complete, it entails, well, there's two places. The ordinance itself in the subdivision regulations, it's 7.2. And then we confirm that all of these items were included on the plan. But there is also, in the application itself, there is, it's called Appendix N. I don't think it's actually Appendix N to this application, but it is our checklist for a major subdivision preliminary plan. So this is something that we provide to the public so that they can ensure that they have checked off all the pieces, and makes our review very easy too, because there's actually a slot here that we can put in our own checkboxes as we go through the plan. So my recommendation is that we review for completeness first, then we discuss specific aspects of the plan that we have questions about or that we would like more information about. And that is, so did we noticed this, but we did not schedule a public hearing, correct? We noticed it though. We set notice that it was, that we got it. Did we also let Waterboro know? So when it is within 500 feet of a town border, we have to let the other municipality know. This is no longer a situation where the property crosses. So we do not need to take that into consideration. But let's get a notice out to Waterboro. We gave it public, so that could in effect, but I'm pretty sure that our regulation says that we will let municipality know. Did you guys didn't happen to let Waterboro know, did you?
We didn't. I had talked with them during the sketch plan. You know, they had some initial concerns, but we didn't, do any special notice to them at this point because, like you say, none of the real development of the project is in Waterboro.
Yes. So I do know that, and I don't know the nuances of this regulation, but I do know that failure to notify an abutter is not a reason to not move forward. So I would assume that where we're talking about an abutting municipality, that we are good to continue our review. There will be a public hearing. And of course, make sure that we do reach out to Waterboro and let them know that this has come back up. And you can let them know, what happens here tonight. But I believe that is located on, that's final. So one interesting thing, our ordinance is mislabeled. So section 7 of the subdivision regulations should be entitled preliminary plan review. On my version, it's shown as sketch plan for major subdivisions. So that's something that we will take up and fix when we next look at our subdivision regulations. And I believe that, that's in sections, in 7.1C is where we're supposed to be notifying the other municipality, just to let you know. Does that plan work for you guys? We'll find it complete or see if there's anything missing and then move on to the preliminary review where we talk to the applicant and make some decisions on whether or not we're going to hold a public hearing and site visit, et cetera. Awesome. So I'm going to go from the ordinance and from the document. We'll see how that goes. From the checklist, we'll see how that goes. So first item of business is we are to get, so this says 4 copies of application plus accompanying information. If we get it electronically, does that constitute 4 copies?
Yep.
Done.
I think, I think we need to address that too. Well, I guess our secretary can make copies if she gets it, but the reason for 4, I don't really understand where they come up with that number.
And in our ordinance, I believe it says 10.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I guess the question, we do currently have enough copies, so I guess that's something that we can mark as to discuss future when we're going over these. All right, future discussion. And I think the reason why we ask for copies is so that the expense of making the copies doesn't fall on the town. That's my guess.
It used to be we need at least a copy for each one of us.
Yep.
That's 6 right there.
Yep.
They probably need one in the code office.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
something we need to address that.
Yep, I think so. 7.2. Well, now we're already off here. Okay, location map. So we need the location map, which we do have. It needs to be adequate to show the relationship of the subdivision to the adjacent properties and to allow us to locate it within the municipality. It needs to show existing subdivisions, location and names of existing and proposed streets. We've just been informed that the next version will have the street names on it. Boundaries and designations of zoning districts. Don't know if it has that. Can someone look for that? Oh, zoning right here. Rural residential 2
It
acre.
says on the plan, and it says on the plan, it's in the RR2 district.
Yep. And an outline of the proposed subdivision and any remaining portion of the owner's property if it covers only a portion of the owner's entire contiguous holdings. And as we've mentioned, there was a change from the original sketch plan, and it's my understanding that the property that is in Waterboro, this has been separated from the property that exists in Waterboro. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure if it's been separated technically.
Well, Van Hertel owns the Waterboro property, and the Hertel Grandchildren's Trust own the subdivision property, from what I can see.
You think you made a good point, because I had forgotten about the Grandchildren Trust.
Yeah. So, and when we're reviewing the documentation, we would want to make sure that the deed properly reflects. But currently, all those things appear to be marked on the map. Is everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Next item is the preliminary plan. Again, I'm not going by this. Checklist is terrible. Well, so we've got the proposed name and the town of Hollis. So we will have the proposed name. I don't see it yet, but it was just identified. And so Talon Estates, and that's how we will refer to it going forward. And I would assume that the town of Hollis is on here somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, town of Hollis. And then we have to ensure that the scale is not smaller than 1 inch equals 100 feet. Or for subdivisions more than 100 acres, not smaller than 1 inch equals 200 feet.
Scales on the bottom, 1 at 150.
All right.
Yeah.
That does it for me, right? What's our total acreage?
58.
Okay, great. So that is client.
7.9.
The application itself, so moving off of the map and onto the application itself. It's nicely pulled together. We've got the name of the subdivision. Again, this will be updated to say Talon Estate. I assume we've got to have that happen. And name of town and assessor's map and lot number. Do we have?
They're all in the notes.
Yep. Perfect. Tax map and lot. Excellent. Verification of right, title, or interest in the property. So that is where we would be looking for a copy of a deed.
I've seen a copy of the deed in here,
In here?
Yeah.
Perfect.
or in the package, maybe the preliminary package we got.
Yeah.
It's in this one.
Yeah.
And it identifies the Grandchildren's Trust as the
Yes.
owner. Yep, right here. All righty. So I think that's sufficient. Next item is an actual field survey of the boundary lines of the tract, giving complete descriptive data by bearings and distances, made and certified by a licensed land surveyor.
Yep, sheet 2 of the plan set was the boundary and existing conditions.
Thank you. It's so helpful when you know your own documents. Thank you. Sufficient? So I do think that the parcel should be updated because now that's changed. The 57 acres is now property of the trust. So we want that, that standard boundary survey to reflect the actual owners as we're looking at it.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, the boundary survey was done before, so it has.
Yep.
Yeah, it has the areas broken out, so you have, has the areas broken out, so you have the distinct area of the Waterboro parcel versus the Hollis parcel on it, so
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's just how it's titled, just for better, like, just, yeah, it's clerical.
Yep.
That doesn't cut it there, that part.
Yeah, and that's, the boundary was done before the conveyance, so we can see what we
We're
can
talking
follow
about the,
through.
yeah, that's the official boundary line survey that was done.
Oh,
And now the property or the land is owned by the trust, not the individual.
Constance and Van, gotcha.
It's minutia, but becomes important if there's ever a need to.
Yep.
The next item is a copy of the deed. We've already seen that. A copy of all covenants or deed restrictions, easements, right-of-ways, or other encumbrances currently affecting the property. Not sure how we would know what of those items exist, but we assume that York County Registry of Deeds search was done and provided us with all that.
Yes, during that, and of course, you know, we mentioned the easement
Yeah.
that's coming in off of Mansion to
Yep.
serve the McKay property.
And is that you're looking for the easement, or you know?
No,
that-
we've identified it on the plan.
Perfect, perfect. So we want to make sure that on the map, there are contour lines at 5-foot intervals. I look to Greg for something like that. Awesome. And then we need the number of acres within the proposed subdivision, the property lines, existing buildings, water courses, vegetative cover type, and other essential existing physical features. I think we're good there. Does anyone have anything that they feel is missing? Number 8 is when sewage disposal is to be accomplished by subsurface sewage disposal systems. Test pit analysis prepared by a licensed site evaluator shall be provided. Did you do test pits?
We
Yes.
have test pit analysis in this package. They're not marked
They're
on
not.
the map.
They're not. We are, test pits were done for the 14 lots that were originally planned for Phase 1.
Phase 1, yeah.
A week or so before, I'd met with Van. He opted to change a couple of the lots from Phase 1 to Phase 2. We've got those test pits in the works to be scheduled, and we'll be giving you that information once we've got it.
Now, you said you met with Van.
Van Hertel, Senior.
Okay.
This is phase 2, phase.
No, this is phase 1.
No, so what the direction we decided to go is these 4 lots were, as we were working through the design, were part of Phase 2. Test pits weren't picked up for these 4 lots, but 4 lots that were proposed for Phase 1 over here, we do have. So if you look at that exhibit, you can sort of see where we do have the test pits for We have some extra test pits down over here.
Are they marked on the map?
They are not marked on this plan, they're marked on your exhibit.
Right.
Yeah.
They are marked on mine?
They're marked in the application materials, there was a plan with the test pits.
Okay.
But so you still have to do 4 test pits,
Correct.
4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you. So that's going to be an outstanding item. Next item is, so what this says is that a map showing the location of a minimum of 2 test pits per lot. So do we have 2 for all the lots or 1? Like what's the?
Currently do not.
What
Okay.
page are you on, Greg?
Or, there's
No page number.
we don't have 2 per current lot with the current plan. The old plan is fine, but the old plan is not the plan we're working off currently.
Right.
So,
There is 28 test pits. There needs to be
You're right.
new location.
All right.
And we've got those in our system, we will show those.
Check your box, I would say no.
Yeah.
that's correct.
So that needs to be updated.
Now, we've got several pages of test pit data,
Yep.
but they're not identified to any lot.
No, well, they're identified to the plan that was with the test pit data.
Before that, for those that you're looking at,
Okay.
there's a map with test pit numbers
All right.
in each one. They are
Yeah, it goes up
right
to,
before that test pit data.
Right.
I'm going to rely on you guys on this one because I can't even find the test.
7,
Yep.
5,
You wanna
6,
see it?
7. Test pits.
and then that's the original
Correct.
one, so it's got
And
different
what we'll
lot
do is we'll update
And then
this
after
plan
another-
to show them all.
Thank
the-
you.
The profile information on each test pit.
Got it. Okay.
So it's about, watch the back.
Okay. All right. Next item is, and again, we're not assessing these at this time. We are just determining completeness. Indicate the type of water supply system to be used. I believe that we have indicated dug wells. Drilled wells. And so we have been told that. We are private wells. Evidence of adequate groundwater supply and quality shall be submitted by a well driller or a hydrogeologist. Do
We had submitted a map of all the drinking water wells in the area from the state's GIS system to show the wells and the yield.
I did see that in here.
And that is in the almost to the back before you get to the stormwater report.
Before the stormwater report,
Yes.
but after wetlands. Streams.
Yep. And it's only a one-page map, so it's
Yeah,
that document right there.
I have seen it, it is in here.
Oh, right here, attachment 9, made water wells exhibit.
like the random.
Oh, yes, it's this nicely colored.
Right.
Buddy. And our requirements do not indicate how many, just that we get a report.
It's true.
And we've got wells that they appear to range from green all the way up to red. So we run the distance here, but we will discuss this further. The date the plan was prepared, magnetic north, graphic map scale, names and addresses of the owner, subdivider, and individual or company who prepared the plan. So date, I know we have designed, drawn, checked, scale. That all looks good to me. We've got the owner of record, the proposed subdivider, or the proposed surveyor. I think we've met, or the applicant has met this item.
Yes.
And a list of abutters, names and addresses of owners of record of adjacent property, including property directly across an existing public street. So do we have, so on Mansion Road, and Deer Wanderer, do we have the, is that property across the street from, well, I guess it wouldn't be across the street.
Right.
So never mind. We seem to have all abutters.
Should.
Yep. The location of any zoning boundaries affecting the subdivision. I don't think there are any boundaries that affect the subdivision. Location and size of existing and proposed water mains, culverts, and drainage ways on or adjacent to the property to be subdivided. Is that,
All of the culvert sizes would have been on the plans,
on the original, on the actual plan?
in our
Yep.
plan set
Yeah,
with
they're
the
in the-
proposed
Yeah.
box culverts.
And I do see some of that in here, particularly close to the road. Do we feel that that is complete? The location and, oh, we got
I
that
would
one.
get Greg's opinion.
Yes.
He's our digger chief.
Yes. Greg, do you feel that we have adequate, the applicant has adequately identified the water mains, sorry, I keep losing my place, the water mains, culverts, and drainage ways on or adjacent to the property?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The location, names, and present widths of existing and proposed streets, highways, easements, building lines, parks, and other open spaces on or adjacent to the subdivision. We already talked about road names. They're going to get those on there. I believe that we have streets, highways, easements, building lines, and there's no parks here. Does everyone agree? The width and location of any street or public improvements shown upon the official map and the comprehensive plan, if any, within the subdivision. Of any street or public improvement shown on the official map. Well, is Deer Wanderer is a town road, correct? So we should have a map that shows that.
We've got Deer Wanderer
Yep.
identified.
Yeah, I see that we have it, but do you show the width? The width and location.
You can scale off and get the width. Yeah, I mean,
Okay. All right, fine with me. Proposed lot lines with dimensions and lot areas numbered. You've got those for all 14. All parcels of land proposed to be dedicated to public use. I don't think we have any public use on this, correct?
we do not.
Okay. The location of any open space to be preserved. I don't think we have any open space.
Not anymore.
And a copy of the soil survey, the county soil survey covering this area. And I know I've seen that.
Yep, that was,
And it says, when medium intensity soil survey shows soils which are unsuitable, we may require a high intensity soil survey. So I think that we've had a little bit of discussion about this.
we're good.
Shall we have that discussion again?
That was what the waiver request?
Mm-hmm.
We can do that now or at the end?
Do we have, so we have a soil survey. Did the soil survey determine that the soils are generally unsuitable?
In my opinion, no.
Okay. All right.
And the test pits we did provide are all for, demonstrate that a septic system can go there, so.
So regarding the waiver request, in my opinion, the soil survey shows, does not show unsuitable soils. Every one of these test pits that I looked at seems viable for a septic system, and there are 2 locations proposed per lot that a homeowner could choose from. So I do believe we would be in our rights to grant the waiver.
All right, we'll bring that forth as we get through this. But right now, we have all the information we need to make that determination. Great. The boundaries of any flood hazard areas and the 100-year flood elevation. I'm looking at it right here. This is an area of minimal flood hazard. From what this says here, do we feel that we need anything additional? All wetlands are identified on the preliminary plan itself. And all slopes in excess of 20%. And we have nothing in a resource protection zone in this proposal, correct? We all agree to that.
Agreed.
Awesome. The next one is a hydrogeologic assessment. If the subdivision is not served by a public sewer, I think that's the test pits that we were just talking about, so I don't know why that's it. If any part of the subdivision is located over a sand and gravel aquifer.
We did provide one of the figures is of the sand and gravel aquifer map from the state.
Yep. And can you just describe this for us? What do the different bands mean? So I'm looking at blue band and
I think the blue are the streams. And if you look down in the lower corner of that figure, right down here, you'll see the yellow, which is getting into either a moderate or high yield aquifer, but it's well off of away from the project boundary. That's what this map would show is any significant sand and gravel aquifers.
Terrific. And then our average density, do we have that figure, density figure? Yep, we do.
Number 16.
And we're looking at 80,000 square feet. And this says that if we have any property less than 80,000 square feet, then
so the minimum lot size
so that
is,
we needed that survey because we were at 80,000.
no, the minimum lot size is 80,000.
Got it.
I think the average or the density, even with 18, is I think it's around 140,000. So we're much less dense than that 80,000 square foot threshold.
The net area is 1,941,419 square feet. If they went to the minimum lot size, they could have 24.3 lots. They currently have 14.
Okay. We are good there. You mentioned that you did have a traffic survey done. So an estimate of the amount and type of traffic to be generated on a daily basis at peak hours. And saw that report.
Just as an aside, I think they had 22 trips or something. They obviously don't.
Yeah,
know
there's a traffic study in here somewhere. Huh?
Yeah,
I think they were peak hour trips.
Yep.
peak hour trips.
So that's
I was just thinking.
that's different than the daily trips.
So
They
yeah,
don't
I'm
go to the
seeing
hardware store 3
14 being generated.
So it would stay less than the thresholds that are outlined in item 23 and below any need for a DOT traffic movement permit.
Which you need to get anyway.
No,
No.
no, it's below, it stays
Oh, it's
below the threshold.
The DOT
Yeah.
traffic permit. Got you. Oh, yeah. All right.
I would have thought there would be at least 2 trips a day per lot.
Well, there are.
Okay.
There are. It typically it's roughly about 10
All right.
trips per day per lot. That's the DOT rule of thumb.
So weekdays, correct me if I'm wrong, weekdays, this proposed subdivision is likely to generate 83 cars going into the subdivision and 82 going out, if I'm reading page 2 of 6 of the traffic assessment right, on a weekday.
Peak hour trips generate 12.
17 trips in the AM and 17 trips,
Yeah.
22 trips during Saturday.
Right, and then you get down, you see the weekday trips total, and then you get into the AM and PM peak hour trips on weekdays and Saturdays.
Right. So for our, we did have some folks mention traffic, the impact of traffic here. So it does sound as if no traffic movement permit required, and site distances were, if upon removal of trees, site distances meet the requirements. And crash data for the 3-year period, no high crash locations. That's good. We do have a copy of the crash report there. Next item is, so for subdivisions involving 40 or more parking spaces or projected to generate more than 400 trips per day. I don't believe that according to the new proposed state laws, it's going to be 1 parking space per unit, correct?
Right.
So that means we're looking at 14 parking spaces, technically. What is Hollis's standard right now? We have, that would be in our zoning ordinance performance standards.
I mean, all of the parking will be within the driveways and garages of the units.
No on-street parking
Right,
intended.
yeah.
I just want to see what we say about residential right now.
I think that particular question is one or the other.
Okay. So
If
it's
it
a
was,
400
if it was a
or-
parking lot, we'd have to consider the 40 spaces.
Yep.
That makes sense to me, that
Okay. We're gonna
otherwise you
refine that
consider
so
your
that
trips. Yeah.
so that we understand it a little bit better. All right. So I'm comfortable, obviously, it is not 40 or more parking spaces, and it is not more than 400 vehicle trips per day. So while we don't need a traffic impact analysis, we do have one. So that's nice. Then we need to notify road commissioner, school superintendent, fire chief, conservation committee, and I would assume, even though it's not written in here, the select board. Ashley, have we notified any of those people? Okay. So you and I can work on like a update to the checklist that helps us make sure that we get things done. So we will need to do that. So assuming that we move forward with completeness. And at the discretion of the board. So we need to ask those people that I just named to provide us with comments within 30 days or at the public hearing if we hold a public hearing. We want to know if their department is, if they have adequate resources to service the proposed subdivision. So any concerns, whatnot, particularly for the fire chief, I think that I saw in here, we talking about cisterns, and so we would like to get the fire chief's opinion on that. And then at the discretion of the board, but in all cases where road construction is proposed, the applicant shall submit a proposal to provide performance guarantees to meet Article 13 regulation requirements. Did you provide us with performance guarantee information?
We provided you with a construction schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That that requirement, I know every town is different, but that's typically something that's provided at final review, and that's one of the waiver requests that was part of our logic in the waiver request for the cost estimate at this point, because as we work through the review, both with the town and the DEP, things could change to alter that, and it's, to go through the process to do the cost estimate, to then go, continue to have to go through the iterations. A lot of times it's just much more practical to do it at final.
So that's something we can talk about, maybe moving it over to the final, instead of having it here in the preliminary, unless anyone have any, it's at our discretion at this point.
It makes zero sense to do it at cost estimate at this point.
It does? Okay.
I've never seen one at this stage.
So I think that maybe we, as we're talking about completeness, we would have to allow the waiver of this at this point in the plan, right? Okay. All right. So that is the 25 things that we needed to look for to determine this application complete. The items that I identified as outstanding are some additional naming conventions put onto the plan itself. And what else did we have? Names. We need to update the boundary survey with the proper name of the landowner. And then those updated test pit analysis tied to the plan.
Yep.
Did anyone have anything else? Right. Any discussion over determining, so I guess, I think we could find this application complete subject to receipt of the outstanding items, which would then allow us to discuss public hearing.
I would move we find the application complete. And if we find any errors in any of the submissions, that we correct it.
Okay. Can we also formally recommend or ask ourselves, can we also formally waive the requirement for the performance guarantee at this point in the plan? We will need it before final.
So
Right.
moved.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Greg?
For a second on that?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking for a second on that. Thank
Second.
you. Do you want your job back? Thanks, Brett.
Any discussion?
Any discussion? Hearing none. And this is just finding the application complete?
No. This is
is
to
just
vote on a motion to waive the cost estimate at this time.
Oh, we're not. So Butch has to,
Butch just didn't get seconded. So
all right.
it will get seconded in a second.
Motion to waive the performance guarantee requirement is on the table and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Greg, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 There's also another waiver requested by the applicant.
That is for the high level.
High
soil-
density
yeah,
soil survey.
Could someone make a motion to waive that requirement?
I make a motion to waive the requirement for the high density soil survey.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none? Greg, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 And then finally,
That's all the waivers, right?
I'll
Yeah.
second Butch's motion with an amendment that we receive the test pit data prior to the next finding.
the next, whatever it is, the next thing that we do.
Yep.
So this is finding complete
Of the preliminary
of the preliminary, so then we have to actually approve the preliminary plan. Now, this is just,
Butch made a motion to find the preliminary application complete.
yep, okay. Subject to receipt of test pit data, test pit information, and the
clerical
other
errors on the plan.
fixing of other clerical.
Do you accept those amendments?
I do.
Any discussion? Agree.
Yes.
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 All right, so we have found the application for Talon Estates complete.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that the next step, now that we have found complete, is to make a decision on site visit and public hearing.
Do you want to have some discussion on the application now that we found it complete?
Sure.
I've got a question for the gentleman, and it's probably not a big deal, but it looks like each one of your lots, you have the building area set aside in the dashed lines there. And they're all on the building areas adjacent to the road on all of them except for lot 11.
Yep, that is because of the.
Because of the wetlands, I assume.
The stream crossing and the 75-foot building setback to the streams. So you'll notice along the road, we've got the 50-foot setback, and then in certain areas, the back lot, 14, is a much larger rear setback than what the ordinance requires, and that's because of the stream setback.
So lot 11, he's going to have to put in he or she, landowner, will have to put in a bridge of some kind.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what.
What we're foreseeing is coming up, turning up through here on this
Okay.
narrower part of the wetland. And an estimate for that
The lot's
crossing.
big enough to accept that.
Right, and the 3,800 roughly square feet of wetland impacts includes an amount for that wetland crossing.
Good. Thank you.
What, you got anything?
I see in the hammerhead, it's going to affect at least two lots. Lot 6 and Lot 5. How are they going to get into those lots without encroaching the hammerhead?
I assume you mean off of the two legs of the hammerhead?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, we've got about 200, each lot has 200 feet of frontage, so, we would have interpreted that to have a driveway off of this area right here that bumps out. Is your, I guess, interpretation is that it couldn't come off of this leg either?
That's correct. No driveway off the hammerhead. That's my understanding.
My understanding, Butch, would be it can come off of the leg between lot 6 and 5. It just, lot 5 or 4's driveway just could not come off the short leg of the hammerhead.
And where do we say that in our ordinances?
That's been, we don't have, it's not in the ordinance. It's a request from our fire chief in the past.
Yep.
And it's good construction practice.
So that's something we want to talk about in the future.
It's on my list.
Okay. And I think that it would, our fire chief will mention it after he does his review.
He has required no parking signs in the past as well.
Okay, down at the
Yeah,
turnaround?
that small piece of the hammerhead.
Yeah, because people use those as extra parking spots, then the fire trucks can't turn around.
Yeah, and typically what, like I was mentioning, what I'm used to seeing is they don't like them off of the ends because that, impacts any kind of plowing, especially on a public road. These are intended to stay private, but still makes it harder for plow operations. And then, we can try and accommodate what we need to accommodate.
Well, I think the hammerhead that ends at so the Hawk Lane hammerhead, I think that just ends at.
I don't think the issue is L4, L5. I think the issue is, again, historically has always been L1, L2, L3, no parking in that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So do we,
Add it to the list, and then it'll be part of a conditions of approval. And then I'm sure that the fire chief will say something about it when he does his review anyway.
okay.
I got a little bit of a list here.
Get it?
What's that?
sheet 2, clerical error, it does call out on number 6 that this is a cluster subdivision zone. We'll need that removed.
Yeah.
This is no longer under cluster subdivision. Upon approval, the town will want a copy of the MGCP once the contractor has been chosen. Is this parcel subject to the clearing limits from IF and W regarding bat habitat?
That will go through our core
Yeah.
review. So I'm not aware of anything that they've put in place. You know, we're just submitting our core permit, so we haven't gotten any feedback on any conditions that they would have there.
So if there is clearing times, we'll want
Yeah.
those will be
Right.
conditions to the permit.
Right.
Box culverts, they're in stream. I'm assuming those are tied to the in-stream work dates from the state of Maine.
Yeah, so the stormwater PBR will govern when we can do that, so
So we'll want to have.
summertime.
We'll want to have conditions of the permit to make sure that the in-stream work is completed during the allowed times from the state of Maine. We'll want a copy of your PBR. Is your intent to apply for that after approval or prior to approval?
For the NRPA, the NERPA PBR?
Yeah.
No, that'll go in when we submit our stormwater permit.
So we'll want a copy of that
Yep.
PBR as well. And the wetland Army Corps of Engineers permit. Which covered my driveway thing. I think that's all I had. Anybody have any questions of what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yes.
MGCP is the main general construction permit. Any site over 2 acres now, one.
Is it? I've always thought it was 1, but they may have changed it.
January changed down to 1. So obviously this will meet that. That'll be done once the permit's issued and a contractor is selected. That's like a 2-week turnaround from submission to approval. Inland Fisheries and Wildlife has been imposing no-cut dates in many projects this size due to bat habitat.
I was gonna say, is that
What does
bats?
bad habitat mean? Oh, bat.
Bats,
Like
yep.
the animal.
They
You,
nest
you-
in
you could do a bat study and
Yeah.
get that removed if that's the way you guys want to go. I'm not saying you
What are
should
the,
or.
what are the typical, no
It's
cut
early
October-
summer, if I remember.
October 1st to April 14th are the allowed.
allowed?
So you could not start, I know this had a construction schedule of summer 2026. Obviously, if the Army Corps comes back,
Yeah.
this is going to be pushed back to October 1st. that
And
minimum.
that's typically, full-scale clearing of the property, so, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously which would need to be done.
Right. Oh, yeah, or at least for the road to start, so, yeah.
Exactly. In-stream work, box culverts doing work in the stream, you have to do it after July 15th and before September 1st, I believe are the dates.
I'd want to double-check. I was thinking
July 1st.
July 1st to sometime in, maybe September 30th or something,
Yeah,
but
don't
yeah.
quote me on the dates.
Right. No, it's
July
one
to
of those things I
September
always.
sometime.
Small window is what you're saying.
It is.
Yeah, that's when ideally the stream is the lowest and the least amount of impact. PBR is a permit by rule from the Maine DEP.
What does that mean?
If you apply
It's
for it.
automatically issued?
It's automatically issued.
It's more expedited than a typical Tier 1 or Tier 2 wetland impact
Less-
permit.
And that depends on what the
If you meet the
land itself looks like.
requirements, you can go for a
Right.
permit by rule, which is you meet the standards, you apply for the permit, you get the permit. Same with like NOITC, notice of intent to comply. It's submitting a letter saying you're going to comply with the standards. Then you have permit levels 1, 2, which you exceed the PBR requirements. Then you have to then get a reviewed permit, which is not automatically
Issued.
I thought my stuff was serious. Oof.
We will want the MDP permit
Yeah, we'll
in hand.
provide all
Those
that.
have been taking very long, as I'm sure you
Yeah.
are aware. So that might hold up the final, unfortunately.
Sure, yeah,
We'll
we're
cross
gonna-
that bridge when we get there, but I'm assuming you guys have already applied for that.
Yep.
You're aware?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I had.
Greg, your input is, as always, essential and super confusing.
Super what?
Confusing. No, thank you for providing us with
Put that in the
explanation.
minutes.
Thank you for providing us with the layman's version of all of those things as well. I appreciate that quite a bit.
James understood what I meant.
Oh, yes, no, that's what, that's what really matters. Anybody else have questions, comments?
I think just one general comment would be, as you look through the preliminary plan, when this gets redone, if you can pull out the maps that still show the extra lots on the other side.
Since the final,
There's a couple maps that are outdated.
the final should have all the updated stuff.
The final one that,
Yeah, when we submit for a final approval, we had, I put the
Yeah, there's a couple
overall
preliminary
concept
things.
plan in there just for your reference, because I knew that you had seen that sketch plan before. There were some changes to
Sure.
the configuration and, just in an effort of full disclosure, just to let you know, more so than just me standing up here and saying this is phase one and we've got phase two will be coming, several years down the road. This is the full intent, but technically the application is for the 14 lots.
All right. All right. So we have asked for a few additional items. Are we at the point now that we can talk about scheduling site visit and public hearing? Even though I thought on majors, we had to have a site and a public hearing. Site walk, site visit. Oh, excuse me. All right. It does not, oh, we do also want to include the road commissioner on that list of people that we notify. I'm not sure if I said that before. Fees have been paid. Is that the escrow? Yep, okay.
A portion of the escrow was paid, and then we were, told that there was an additional amount per lot. So that is, I emailed Ashley a copy of the check that I got a copy of that's coming up from South Carolina or Florida, wherever the trustee of the Grandchildren Trust lives, and should be to you guys this week.
All right, so I think that the next steps are subject to that as well. I'm not seeing it here, but I'm pretty sure we are required to do a site visit and public hearing for major subdivisions, so
look at
I'm
page
proposing that we
20.
do. Page 20.
Article 7, or 7.1, where we started some stuff.
Thank you.
Just the public hearing.
Yeah, it says we shall determine whether to hold a public hearing, but I think that we are required to. So I recommend that we hold a public hearing and we have a site walk of this location so that we can take a look around. Generally, we do that, schedule it for the next available meeting. I think our next meeting is, Ashley?
May 27th.
May 27th. Is that right after Memorial Day? So shall we, can everyone make a site visit on May 27th at 7, at 5:30?
It's 50 acres, there's little ground it covers.
Is the center line staked?
Not yet, but I've got it in the works, anticipating a site walk.
Does that happen before the 27th?
Yeah.
If it's not, then we'll push it, I think. But unless you want us to push it to the next meeting in June.
No, I'm happy.
Okay.
I think I'd rather get you guys as much familiarity with the project and the site as early on in the process so that we can move forward as, efficiently as possible.
Center line, and then do we want to have the lots staked? Do we need to have the lots staked out? The lots, we need those, if we're doing a site visit.
Well, they're going to stake the center line of the road, I guess.
Yeah, and so then we can determine where the lots will
Yeah,
be.
and now they have the corners of the property, I would think.
I'll have a plan with stations, so if they've got the center line staked, we can have a good estimate of where the,
Pretty good idea where we're at.
right, where the lots are in relation to the center line.
We are talking about a wooded and wet area in spring in Maine, so bring your bug spray and wear your long pants.
Thanks, Mom.
What time do you just decide?
What time? Do you think we need to do earlier than 5:30?
I just don't think I can.
What if we did 6 o'clock? Okay.
What if we did 7 and we did the meeting differently?
I don't want to mess with you. It just doesn't make
Don't
sense.
hold up for me.
We could do a Saturday.
Oh, blasphemy. Do 5:30, Greg will make.
Okay, 5:30, and Greg, if you can make it around 5:30, that would be awesome. So I'd rather have you there than, and have you late. Better to be late and pretty than not there and ugly. I don't know, there's some quote that goes along with that. So we will do the site plan, the site visit, and then the same night, we will do the public hearing. So Ashley, that means we need to do notification to abutters, newspapers, and Waterboro.
Is there a delineation on the Mansion Road of where that is? Easily, is there some kind of landmark that people can find that?
Once we get the stakes, it'll be
Joe
right there.
Rogers' house.
Yeah. They'll do the stake, that initial start with a lot of ribbon and flagging and.
We've had issues in the past where
Yeah.
people can't find the project.
That would be me.
I
That
wasn't
would
gonna call
be
you
me.
out, but
Yeah, we'll make sure it's very visible right up through there.
All right. So we had, 2 weeks is enough time for you, Ashley? Yes? Awesome. We do also want to make sure that we get the police chief, et cetera, noticed right away too.
Fire chief, yeah.
please.
Fire chief, I'm sorry.
Say, I
You can
haven't
tell
met
it's-
him. I've been
Yeah,
lucky.
you can tell it's getting late for
I
this
was like,
girl.
what police chief are you talking
You can tell it's
about?
getting late. So I don't believe there's anything else. We don't need to motion for those hearings, do we? No. No, I don't think so. I'm not going to.
Well, bud.
All right, so
Executive decision.
plan for a public hearing and site visit on the 27th of May. Public is welcome at both, and as usual, we welcome public comment on proposed growth in the town of Hollis. And I think at that, we will excuse you.
Well, thank you all for your feedback tonight, and we'll definitely have a updated plan to you all for the meeting on the 27th.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for coming out. Next item is plan for next meeting, which I think we just did. We do have one item that one of our board members would like to introduce. And he's already been told that he needs to give me a little bit more advance notice in the future so that we can actually get him on the agenda. So we're going to have Tom take away something that he has been thinking about and wants
Thank
us
you.
to think about for the future.
This is of two things that a lot of residents have talked about and brought up before, and I've been talking to them. One is a ordinance banning large-scale e-commerce distribution and fulfillment centers in the town of Hollis.
Don't want to pull a Gorham.
Yeah, so.
Vote
and
for
like I
it and then
said,
hate
this
it.
is something that's been
Thank you.
discussed and talked about for a while, and I've been working on this question. Hey, can this happen to us? Hey, what do we do in Hollis if this gets brought up? And I felt that we need to try to get ahead of it before we get behind it, and we're trying to figure out how to either stop it or accept it, however the residents feel. So obviously, this is the very, very infancy of the conversation. It's a much bigger conversation that eventually, if the board decides as a board that we want to take this on, goes to the select board for permission and then ends up going on a ballot sometime down the road. And then obviously goes in front of the voters, because that's the whole purpose of all of this, and pretty much everything we do, is to make sure that we're properly representing the voters. Again, it's two different ordinances, one prohibiting large-scale e-commerce distribution and fulfillment centers. We won't call any of them out by name, because that's not polite. The other one is, oh, did I get them both?
Yep. Same thing.
Bennett made copies for me.
I have two different ones.
You have two different ones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do too.
As do I.
Yeah, because the first one's the definitions is data center, and the other one's distribution center is where it starts, so.
I think Bennett's copied them twice, I'm not gonna lie. Prohibiting large scale, well, one was, yeah, no, we got them both. All right, I'm sorry. And then the other one's banning data centers. Pretty, I don't want to say hot topics, but a lot of towns around us are dealing with it or trying to catch up to their lack of dealing with it.
Yep.
So I figure at least if we start the conversation and understand that it's a conversation we can have down the road when we have a little more time, obviously it's nothing we can tackle tonight or anytime in the next month or two.
But we could make a goal, I assume what you're thinking is we can make a goal of getting it on the next warrant.
Right.
A warrant in
Yep,
in the not too distant future.
Yeah, if it's something, obviously, it's not a Tommy decision. If the board feels that it's something that the residents would want,
Yeah.
then we'd ask that it gets put on a ballot down the road. Obviously, there's a much bigger conversation. It's kind of a bigger thing. You see it in all the towns around you. I just don't want to play catch up. I'd rather try to get out in front of it a little bit, and have that conversation now. As more and more towns around us are saying no to it, and it just gets pushed further and further out. We're next up from Gorham, so we're not far from it. So yeah, that was pretty much that. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. Again, these are very, very rough drafts. Look through them, see what you hate, see what you don't like, and then, suggestions, everything like that. Any residents that have any questions or concerns, obviously reach out to our wonderful planning board secretary. Again, it's a large-scale data centers in the town of Hollis ban and a large-scale e-commerce distribution facility. I went with bans as opposed to moratorium, because I like to know exactly what I'm voting on. We started with our fireworks ordinance was originally technically a moratorium. It was until we could create laws surrounding it, rules surrounding it, and then it just kind of morphed into a ban. So I'd rather just say outright that I'm suggesting a ban. We're suggesting a ban, not something that could be turned into a ban eventually down the road. So if you are in favor of that or against it, send your comments and concerns to the wonderful planning board secretary, and she will forward them to us. But yeah, no, that's all I got. Like I said, at some point we can discuss it and go through it. By no means is it front and center, because we have very important things to do. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for thinking about our future.
I'm not gonna lie to you, we had pizza night Friday, and it was a half dozen people, at least. We're talking about the stuff happening in Gorham. And
Yeah.
then more than a dozen were talking about the rest of the stuff. So I think it was the right time to at least acknowledge that it's gonna make its way here eventually. So
We need to make a decision as a town.
Right, exactly.
Will
I want-
always, yeah, it will always be as a town,
Right,
for
right.
sure. So I appreciate your hard work here. You're getting, you're kind of competing now with my writing abilities, sir.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I took the Mike Harnoise approach, and I just tossed it into ChatGPT. All the stuff that I had, the ideas that I had, and ChatGPT strained it for me and made me not sound so disheveled. But
As a first pass,
Did
this
it give
is
you that
actually
word
quite
as
good.
well?
what's that? Disheveled? No, I like that one. That's a Tommy word. But yeah, no, it was like I said. It's not all my skills, so appreciate it though.
Could we please get these two, let's get them watermarked with the word draft
Yes.
over them everywhere and the date? And then could we post these on our planning board website for anyone that would like to take a look?
I can send you the PDFs so that you have like an actual instead
We
of
just
just
want to,
this.
and I think that it will maybe make sense for us at this point to somehow identify things like drafts on our website in a very clear way. So I don't know if we have a section that's red, or I'm not sure exactly what that would look like.
Proposals
but
or something.
we want it, we should have some standards around what a draft, how we identify drafts of things. If we're going to be sharing these types of things, we want to make sure that there isn't any confusion over what's been voted on by the residents. Coming up this June 7th,
Ninth?
9th, today's voting.
I think it's the 9th.
Okay, June 9th.
Okay.
We have a warrant article coming out. Mary's still here, so I just thought I'd mention that. Don't forget to get out and vote, June 9th.
I think you can get your absentee ballots right now, too.
I think you can.
So if people wanted to early vote, they could.
I think you can. Great idea. All right, guys, at that, we have a plan for our next meeting. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 All right, see you
Yeah.
next 2 weeks, 5:30. These are great times.